Hello, friends. What is going on with you all? And welcome to another episode of the YarCrypto Late Night Live Show. My name is Groovy, guys, and today I have with me here, as always, Mr. Sterling. Hello, Sterling,
Hey, what's up, guys? How we doing?
and also Mr. Legal Talent. Hello, Legal.
Oh, legal. I think you're muted.
You might be muted, Legal.
Yeah, a little technical difficulties this time, but how people, how y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
Awesome.
I'm good.
Yeah. So today, guys, we had some movements going on the market. So are start we're going to start updating you guys on the current situation on the price action because we have some exciting stuff to look at on the charts today. Apparently, uh, this is the daily chart here. We did uh, close above the 21 daily EMA on this daily time frame, guys. So as you guys can see here, we just had this daily close on this candle here. And we got a nice little bit of volume to pushes up through the 21 daily EMA here. And now the question that we need to ask is this 21 EMA gonna act as support, or is this gonna be another move like this one where we get above the 21 and find resistance and just plummet back
Yeah,
uh, down below the EMA. So that's something that's we're gonna watch out for the next couple days.
yeah.
Uh,
And talking about the daily chart, if I could just bring up mine's real quick for BTC,
yeah,
something we've been tracking for quite some time is the RSI on the daily here. If I turn off my money flow index for you here so you can see it more clearly, we have this overall larger, slower trend that we've been looking at since the beginning of the year that we've mentioned, a lot of times here. So depending on how you draw this, if you go with, the tops, or if we even potentially call this a zone here, it looks like we are having a breakout from this area, something that, we mentioned a few times. And, this is coinciding with the current breakout of this also descending parallel channel that we've been in also for weeks, it looks like right now. So what can we expect on the smaller time frames? Groovy, what else do you have on the daily? Do you have anything else?
yeah. Actually, just to complement what you said about the RSI there, because there's something really interesting about this, and it's something that I mentioned as well on my RSI tutorial on the YouTube. Uh, because we are obviously in a downtrend in the bigger picture here. And as you guys can see, and as I talked about as well on the tutorial, usually in downtrends, the RSI have a lot of difficulty to actually get past the 50 line on this RSI. And if I can just get this a little more clear for you guys, this 50 line, because if you guys take a look on this RSI here on the past, ever since we kind of came down in this range here, and even below before that, in this kind of area here, you see that the price never stays, and the RSI never stays a long time above the 50 line. It always finds its way back below it, because it's just the structure of the price action and the RSI on downtrends, right?
Yeah.
So right now, guys, we did manage to get above this 50 line, and we did manage to break that trend line that Legal talked about. So yeah, the question is, are we gonna maintain this, or is it gonna be, as I mentioned at the beginning, another move like this? Because if you guys take a look here, during this move here, where we broke the 21 EMA on the daily, we also broke the 50 line here.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did find resistance, and we broke below it again because the downtrend prevailed, and we just sold off after that. So this is very interesting to look at. The RSI actually corresponding to the price action moving. So if we can maintain ourselves above the 50 line and potentially even move to a overbought position here, this is going to be really nice for the price action, even
Yeah.
if we retrace after that.
And if we actually look at the 4 hour chart here to kind of bring it down to a more micro scale for Bitcoin, we did recently have that breakout of this channel that we were in, coinciding with the RSI. But as well as that, if we looked at the 1 hour, we had a more broadening wedge situation here that we also broke out of as well. So, there are a few levels here now that we can look for to potential support areas as opposed to now just everything is resistance. So for the moment we do pump essentially, as Jamal pointed out in the chat.
I'm pretty sure that's major.
Yes, is that major?
What's up?
Yeah, so just to also complement on what Ligo is saying here on the 4 hour, if we look at this lower time frames here, we can see that the RSI is pretty overbought on the 4 hour time frame. So it's we might get a retracement to the downside here, and potentially even testing the 21 EMA again as a support level now. And if we do hold the 21 EMA, then the next level we should potentially look at is the 50 EMA up here, which is this green line here.
Yeah.
And the 50 currently is at 35K, which is also the middle of the range. All right, guys. So
Yeah.
if we take that retracement that I made all the way back, let me see if I can actually find it. If I'm not mistaken, it was this one from this swing high here all the way back to this swing low here. Yeah, in this retracement, our golden pocket is all the way up at 36. But if I come to the daily time frame, there's another retracement, which is from this swing low here to this swing
I
high, and
believe
we
the one right
bounced.
right after that one is the one you were using. So we're talking about from the 26th to the 29th. I believe we were looking at that retracement as well.
26. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Yep.
but this bigger one, I think it's still respecting. So I think we can actually get some the actual lines here, because if you guys take a look here, we are now at the 38.2 on this retracement, and look at that, we actually respected the level on the daily, and on the 4 hour we are respecting it as well. So I would say, since we respected this level in the past, this might be a nice reference point for us. We respected it over here as well. So basically, the 50%, which is the 35, is now major resistance for us, as well as the 50 EMA on the daily time frame, guys. So yeah, that's
Again,
basically,
but to keep in
yeah.
mind, we did make a nice little move to the upside. So one thing that we can expect is a retracement. So what I'm looking for would be that retracement and a flip of support on these previous resistance zones that essentially we keeping us down here since how as far back as essentially the 29th of June. And so that's what I would like to see. We do need that retracement, obviously, to give the, as you said, the oscillators time to cool down and to stop forming these bearish divergences. But aside from
Yeah.
that, once we actually show some confirmation of support, I think I'm, looking to put also some more spot down, because I did buy some spot a little lower down when we made this dip here around 29 on Bitcoin.
Yeah, HB Fit is saying on the chat, "Yo boys, pump it, man." Yep,
Yeah.
that's
All
what we are
Groovy have to do
hoping.
is just place one order, and he'll pump it. He'll pump up the whole price.
Yeah, I already did, but if you guys want me to
Now you got to
Yeah,
actually,
spell.
that was that
Oh,
other candle. Sorry.
yep, but I'll think about it. But yeah, BTC is looking a little nicer right now. We did
Yeah.
bounce from that bottom range that we were talking about, which is this gray zone here. So we bounced almost exactly, a little above it, depending on the exchange as well that you look at.
Yeah.
This might have been a little more exact, but yeah, basically this is BTC right now. We gotta know if the 21 EMA is actually gonna hold as support. There's one more retracement actually that we can make, which is this local one on the 4 hour, which is from all the way up here, all the way down to this. Um, and you guys can see that we respected this level in this zone here. And the 618 level is confluent with the 21 EMA. So this is potentially a nice retracement that you guys can make on the 4 hour from the high here on the 12th of July all the way down to the low on the 20th. Um, so yeah, basically BTC. Um, and moving on now, maybe we can talk about Ethereum a little bit as well, because Ethereum, I have this chart here. This is the 4 hour. We are seeing a similar situation, but Ethereum has been seeing a lot more upside, I think, in terms of percentages. And I had this chart here drawn ever since way back in this rising wedge here, guys, and we said that the we kept saying that the target for this rising wedge was the 1700s, and it was confluent as well with our bottom range here on BTC and at the 29K. So that happens. We bounced almost exactly here at this green zone that I had on the 1700s, and now we are continuing to the upside. But
Yeah.
um, the targets that we need to watch right now, if we're gonna look only in the price action side of things, I would say that this immediate range here that we had, this double top, is a very nice place of actual resistance. So this range here,
Yeah.
if I got up here, you guys see that we had support here as well for a little bit. We respected it on the rising wedge here. So yeah, this would be confluent a little bit with the 50 EMA on BTC. But yeah, I would say the 2K level is probably a nice resistance range for us to actually pay attention to
Yeah.
for the next few
And
days.
and if we're looking at the bigger picture, I have the daily here for Ethereum. Something we've been looking at is that fib speed fan retracement that I drawn for some time now. So at the moment, we are having this clear zone that we can move in before we can experience some real resistance in terms of seeing this kind of choppy holding back the price that we've seen when we hit these zones. But what I'm pointing out here is that, because I've been hearing a lot of people talk about the potential for a bigger W pattern on the daily forming, and if this is the case, then it would be confluent with this other line here if it takes us just a, let's say here, a couple of towards the end of the month to reach this zone. you know, at that point, we would expect, some type of retracement as well, and maybe to find support at a neckline. So, this is still in play at the moment. I'm going to keep track of this for you all. But right now, we are forming a potential W pattern with the double bottom that we did experience.
Yeah, and guys, if we're looking at the daily here, not only that W is relevant, but there's also a pretty obvious retracement that we can make. If you guys like retracements, I personally trade a lot of retracement as well. It's one of the most useful tools. And here we have on the daily a very clear swing high here on the 7th of
Mhm.
July. and we have a very clear swing low here on our bottom range at the 20th of July. And look at that, guys. That level is the 618 level golden pocket that I just mentioned, um, which is at the 2K 2100. So yeah, that's basically our immediate resistance that we have to take care of.
Yep.
Um, and if we get rejected, then we might start bouncing between these fib levels here, because I'm pretty sure we are going to respect a lot of these levels here from now on Ethereum. So yeah, that's basically what we have right now. If we look at EMAs on Ethereum, actually, we have the 50 here, which is also in this kind of range here. If we wick to the upside on this 618 level here, we might hit the 50. So that's another form of resistance up there. And also, the 21 EMA is long gone as resistance here. Now it should act as support along with the 50% line on
Yeah.
this retracement. So yeah, basically we have a range here for us to actually look at, and very clear levels for Ethereum, I would say.
Exactly. So these are the immediate resistance levels that we have to get past, before we can solidify this upward trend. Because at the moment, we're still at the risk of producing a lower high. So that's something to look out for.
Yeah. And coming back a little bit on BTC, but it actually applies for everything in Ethereum as well. We have this article here because we were talking about this potential short squeeze.
Yeah.
Um, and we have this article from Yahoo Finance here, guys. Um, the title of the article is Market Wrap. Um, Bitcoin analysts expect a short squeeze. So basically, what they are saying here is that the upside momentum is improving, which could keep crypto buyers active into the weekend. Some analysts expect a short squeeze to push BTC above the 50-day moving average, around 34,000, given oversold conditions on the charts. So basically, guys, this is the relief rally that we were talking about, because we were, yeah, as we talked about as well, we were getting oversold, uh, and practically all the time frames, um, leading to the weekly time frame,
Yep.
because we just had downside after downside moves for weeks.
And
Um,
on top of that as well, we've had this exit of the market on the retail side, where they're just not confident. And so they're waiting for some kind of move before they start jumping in as well.
yeah. And this guy, even if this is a temporary move, um, this is very nice for the market, because when we start breaking this kind of levels, like the 21 EMA and stuff like that, it can draw a lot of FOMO by the retail and people actually getting back into crypto.
And FUD as
Um,
well.
yeah, and that can lead the price to the upside a lot of the time. So yeah, this might be good for the crypto market, at least for the short to medium term. But the article here, it continues saying here that um, if BTC retains the lower range of 30K, shorts will begin to squeeze as BTC moves to the middle point of the range, likely accelerating in the coming days or weeks. And uh, this was wrote by the Sashimi Nakamoto on CryptoQuant. Um,
Yeah.
so they are expecting some sort of short squeeze, and they are expecting the volume to keep accelerating and potentially even breaking this 50 EMA here that we talked about. So that's what we are gonna
Yeah, it
look
gives a
at.
little bit of information as to why we may be seeing these potential movements. Because that's one thing that a lot of people fail to realize is that a lot of times there are some, fundamentals behind a lot of these movements and a lot of these coins. You can get the charts and make great moves, but fundamentals are key.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. We got some comments here. You guys think this rally has anything to do with China's BTC miner relocations? Still think we'll need to break and hold 40K for an actual full market recovery personally. So, answering your question, Jamal, basically, I think it, I think it has some effects on the price for sure, because as we talked about the Pure multiple as well a few days back, um, that hit a potentially bullish signal a few weeks ago,
Hmm.
and this is related to miners, and also we were talking about as well how the miners need to actually get back on track for us to actually see a potential recovery. So this might be a little bit of the start of that, that whole situation there, and all of that on-chain analysis about the uh, miners situation. So yeah, it's not a guarantee, but I'm sure
And the
it
other
has some
thing
effect.
Yeah, the other thing we have to keep in mind is that it's a competitive market, especially for these
Yeah,
miners, and there's many companies out there, competing for the same blockchains and the same hashes, so to solve the same blocks. So essentially, it doesn't make sense for them to be disconnected for an extended period of time, because the more they're disconnected, the less money they make overall. And so I do think that even though we are seeing this exodus from China with the miners, there are contingencies I would imagine that those companies put in place in terms of moving slowly, or not disconnecting everything at once, because that would impair them greatly.
yeah. And about the what you said about the 40K level measure, I would say I think kind of the same way, because yes, we do have this all of these EMAs here that we need to turn and support, and also we have the 200 EMA on the 4 hour here. Oh, and look at that, we actually didn't look at the 200 because we just got rejected by it a little bit, or we closed above it. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's
And
the
the other
200 EMA on the 4 hour. Yeah,
the other thing too, to give a little credence to what Major was talking about, if we look at my chart on the weekly here, we do have the situation where we're still waiting to print the next high. And so, like I said, I would want to see at least a wick above this 41.3 for Coinbase, and close a body above these previous two candles right here that took us to the downside on the reversal there, which is about 39,000. So these are the levels that I'm looking for. That would be a reclamation of the 50 EMA. That would also take us back to the 200 on the weekly. So there's a lot of confluence here, a lot of things going on that I'm waiting for. But
yeah,
as you said, we do have to be cautious, because we do have this short squeeze happening, and how much of this is the price action is being led by that. You
yeah.
know.
Uh, and there are steps that we take for this market recovery, because when we are below all of this resistance, we need to take it step by step. But each
Mhm.
step that we take, and every resistance that we break, is we can be a little more sure about a recovery. And I would say the first step is the 21 EMA, and if we can bounce and solidify the support there on the daily time frame,
Yeah.
preferably, then that's the first step. After that, the 50 reclaim support, tested as support on the daily time frame as well. And after that, we also have the 200 daily EMA, which is
We're not
around
out
the
of the woods
40K
yet.
level.
Basically, we're not out of the
Yeah,
woods yet.
yeah. So yeah, I agree with that, Major, for sure. And since you mentioned about the miners, we also have our a little bit of news about the mining here,
Mhm.
and it's something really interesting. It's also confluent with what you talked about. So if I can just get my screen up here, um, we do have some investment being made because this article here from CoinDesk, they say here that crypto lender Celsius confirms $54 million investment in miner Car Scientific. The announcement follows just 2 days after Core Scientific said it planned to list its shares on the Nasdaq via a merger. For anyone who doesn't know, the Core Scientific is the largest host of BTC mining machines, ENA, in North America. Um, so the article says here that the funding is part of Celsius' planned 200 million investment in BTC mining in North America, according to the company, and that would make it one of the largest U.S. investors in the BTC mining industry. So this is very good news. We saw that the miners were uh, reallocating to the US, to Texas, and places like that. So, and now we are seeing some money flow into the mining business.
Yeah,
Um, and also, they touch on the things about environmental effect here, because they say that uh, they highlighted cars carbon neutral infrastructure.
mm,
And Mashinsky said that last month Celsius had joined the BTC Mining Council, the voluntary organization of miners and high-profile members of the BTC community, concerns about mining's environmental impact. So this might be something very interesting to see in the future.
this is something that we've
Um,
talked about a lot here too, the environmental
yeah,
impact and the fact that we have a lot of investors that are weary about that, and it's kind of what's keeping them from doing that. And isn't that the reason Elon Musk is kind of giving right now, that he's waiting for the environmental kind of aspect to get cleaned up a bit before flipping more bullish?
yeah,
That's why he
for
stopped the
sure.
payments before, I believe.
Yeah, things like this can lead to even more things, because uh, if we see the results of the environmental things discussions happening on the mining space as well, and then Tesla announces it's back into BTC, um, so that can lead to a whole domino effect, uh,
Exactly.
and the price is gonna
Mhm.
probably have a move in relation to that for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there'll definitely be catalysts to, more purchasing power in terms of getting the retail involved more. Because I know this is definitely bullish news, and once you start seeing things like this, it makes me want to get more into it. Thinking that okay, there's going to be that upside potential. The longevity of the asset is increasing at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, aside from like any like kind of FUD coming out of China with the crackdown of miners, aside from that, I'd say most of this news is actually positive. And really, the reason why Bitcoin's price was being pushed down so much is because the traders pushed it under the 200 daily EMA, and then that's why we've been in this kind of sort of environment where we're making bigger losses than gains every time we do make a move up in a much quicker fashion, in a much faster time period. We'll make a big loss, and it'll take us like 2 days to make a some movement to the upside, and we'll lose it in a day.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the environment that we've been in at right now, and I don't think it has anything to do with any FUD. I mean, yeah, there has been FUD. When Tesla did announce that they were gonna not accept BTC payments anymore, that was it was a memorable moment for everybody who was trading that day.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I think
Yeah.
ever since then, it was really the traders who pushed the price under the 200 daily EMA and pushed us into this environment, and that's where we're at right now. But aside from that, I think most of the news that we're seeing with regards to miners moving from China to the US, it's very positive. We have mayors all over the US saying they want to turn their city into a crypto hub. We got the SEC chairman Gary Gensler saying like basically they don't want to like ban crypto. I'm sorry, that's the
Yep.
ferry by my house. They don't want to ban crypto. I think they just want to make sure that people don't get hacked on like exchanges. People don't lose all their
Yeah.
funds. Somebody like the guy from ThoughtX doesn't run off with $2 billion, or the guys from Nigeria who ran off with $3 billion.
Yeah, and,
That's
and
kind of
actually that you mentioned that, we have an article here about the Trump coin that we covered quite some time ago. And it looks like that a couple of Trump's websites had data leaks and hacks. So going to what you were saying, there is a lot of risks there, and we do need more regulation so that things like this won't happen, because I would imagine this website was set up hastily and the protection of the user's data was not at the forefront of the creation of that site.
wow.
Yeah. So we have the article here from Yahoo Finance as well. And basically, pro-Trump cryptocurrency suffers from data leak. And they say here that the on the article, an anonymous hacktivist has handed a dossier to the UK's Guardian newspaper, claiming that more than 1,000 identities of those who signed up to the MagaCoin website were leaked. The exposed data includes emails, passwords, crypto wallet addresses, and IP addresses. The Make America Great Again coin is a cryptocurrency started by used car company owner Mark Zelinka, which now appears to be managed by Rayleigh O'Neill, a North Carolina based politician and pro Trump operative. Um, and then they continue talking about the coin here. Exactly 74 and a half million tokens were minted, symbolizing the number of people who voted for Trump in the election. Um, so yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's important, that you are careful where you're putting your personal data. You don't just give off so much personal info to just the first site that pops up. There are businesses and sites that have been accredited and have been vetted. I would imagine things like Coinbase, things like that are kind of safe in my eyes, even though I personally don't like having to use them, being forced to. But yeah, there are safer ways to protect yourself in terms of giving away your personal data.
yeah, and crypto, unfortunately, once again, we have been seeing the bond. We saw the Bondly case yesterday,
Yeah,
and now this. It's unfortunate, but this stuff happens, and uh, the security on the crypto space still has to be
yeah,
uh, at least in some projects it needs to actually be a little better. But another piece of news that we have here, guys, is the Brazilian police seized on the country because they seized $33 million in crypto money laundering probe. So basically, another thing that they discovered here in the country. Um, they say here on the article that Brazil's civil police seized 172 million reais, which is 33 million in US dollars, amid an investigation into money laundering carried out through crypto exchanges. And the Brazilian judiciary authorized freezing accounts and seizing assets from 2 individuals and 17 companies. The investigation found that crypto exchanges acquired and sold BTC to fictitious companies fabricated to facilitate their creators' access to the banking system. So basically, this is something new, I think, in the country. Um, just now, they are starting to actually catch this kind of fraud and schemes that are happening, and I do believe here in the country that they will be a little more um, harsh
Vigilant.
in
Yeah.
terms, yeah, in terms of regulations about crypto, because there was very little things talked about here in the country about crypto, but now the news are kind of emerging. We saw the ETFs as well being placed, so the attention here in the country is growing.
Hmm.
uh, but with that comes the bad side as well, right? But
Yeah.
this happens, and they are taking care of what is going on right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I would say this definitely ties into some of the news we covered last time about Binance and the different banks that are stopping, support for payments to and from Binance. And so, it is in an effort at the core level, I would say, to stop this kind of money laundering and, possible terrorist activity. But we're having regular people now getting affected, and so it's interesting to see what's going to happen with that. Binance is having a little trouble there. I know I have
Yeah,
some friends of mine that are having issues with their bank and stuff with Binance. So I know I was having issues in New York as a New Yorker in America. We don't have access to Binance, so I use Coinbase. I don't have access to Binance US as well because New York, Texas, 7 different states decide, they don't want to do business with the company. So this is something we have
yeah,
to keep into, you know, and deal with as we trade crypto.
yep, for sure. That was, I think that was the last piece of the news that we had, right, guys? I don't know if you
Yeah,
guys have
we
any.
had some smaller, news. We have here something about Virgil Griffith because apparently he was, on house arrest essentially, and he was not supposed to be looking into cryptocurrency. So it looks like he's back in jail. The ETH developer Virgil Griffith is back in jail after allegedly checking his Coinbase account. So it seems like one of the court orders was that he was not able to be dealing with or accessing crypto in any regard, and it looks like he did try to contact Coinbase to have his two part authentication lifted due to the fact that the FBI kind of confiscated all of his phones, so he was unable to do the two-factor authentication. So I thought this was just a light news here to
Oh
hear
yeah,
about because it's interesting to see that I wouldn't have even thought that there'll be those type of limitations imposed, and that seems like something that will be reserved for like terrorist activity and things like that. So that's very
for
interesting.
sure. Yeah, I guess that wasn't a great idea, right? To
Yeah,
actually, but yeah, they were watching him very closely because he's charged with he has charges on him of conspiracy to violate sanctions with North Korea.
yeah.
So he's facing up to 20 years in prison.
The thing is, he probably
Um,
knew very well that he was gonna be punished for doing that. I mean,
And
yeah,
then
it's obvious that
it,
North Korea is a sanctioned country,
hmm
so he
and
probably
he's
knew very
claiming
well.
that he didn't actually try to access the account; that it was his family trying to access the account. But his account went up by about $1 million in the recent pump. So he
Yeah,
wanted to look at it. Come on.
Yeah, I bet he does, but I'm saying like he knew that he was probably going to end up in jail. I mean, he
Oh, of
was
course. Yeah.
he was basically discussing with North Korea how to use crypto to evade American sanctions. Whether
Yeah.
American sanctions on North Korea are just or not, he knew very well what he was going to be facing if he
Yeah,
said
exactly. And he's a flight risk, so that's one of the main reasons for the ban on his use of his Coinbase account.
true.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, but this is basically all that we have on the news side. Um, we talked about a little on the charts and what we have to look at for the next few days.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, this is all for tonight. Thank you guys so much for watching. For anyone who commented, who watched the stream, and if you're watching on YouTube as well, thank you for watching. And if you guys want to see any more content, guys, you can access yarcrypto.com. We also have our news website, yarcryptonews.com. And we also have our Discord community where we talk all about crypto related stuff. So if you guys want to hang out with us, talk about crypto, learn about crypto, we do live TA every day on the Discord server. So if you want to check it out, you can click the link in the description. But yeah, guys, that was all for tonight. Thank you guys so much for watching. Good night to you. And bye bye, guys.
Hi
Take
guys,
care, everybody.
take care. Good night.